Well, hello again, everyone. Second time today. Aren't we lucky and aren't we spoiled? Today we are watching Smackdown. It is our first dual stream in quite a while, but we have Smackdown on YouTube and Smackdown on Twitch. So join us as we head into the show, starting in just a moment. Firstly, a quick hello to everyone. For anyone who doesn't know, my name is Tom Colohue. I cover wrestling. I was the guy who reported that Becky Lynch would indeed be at SummerSlam before it happened. And a big hello to everyone for who will be joining me for the dual stream tonight, the live show and the live watch along of Smackdown. Great to see all of you. Great to see everyone. Hopefully you're all excited because tonight is the return of Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar returns to SmackDown on the hunt for Roman Reigns, who's been not so much dodging him as throwing Adam Pearce in his direction as quickly as possible to try and keep him separate. Hello, Connor. I did say hello to you a moment ago, but you were also... I said hi in a cupboard and forgot that we weren't live. That's a thing that happened. Bailey says hello to the multicast. Thank you, Bailey. Sean says hello, Tom. Someone 7 saying hey, Tom, as well. And Connor is also in the YouTube. Fantastic. We got viewers in every direction now. We are flying. We are flying. Thank you to the 2 people as well who've already hit that like button on YouTube and are helping us grow there. Very much appreciated. Our first show today, spoiler warning, went for about an hour and a quarter and was very, very heavily attended, and I'm very grateful to all of you who dropped in. But today, and now, all about SmackDown. All about that SmackDown. All about that Sami Zayn's championship opportunity if and when it happens. If and when, because let's be honest, it's not gonna. But here we are again. Yes, Connor, it is full on stuck in my head. You're right, Megan. I'm guessing you're saying boo because Drew McIntyre was forced off your TV screen. This evening is going to be all about Brock. And I genuinely mean all about Brock. It's going to be all you're going to hear about. Roman Reigns will be dedicated to running away. Megan says taking Drew off my screen is always a bad idea. I respect that, especially when he has a sword. Especially when he has a sword. So, slightly different situation here to how we usually do things. I'm wearing my sort of YouTube setup here, which is just something I'm a little bit more comfortable with for the dual streams, because otherwise I get a lot of stuff that just happened on the Twitch. Brock Lesnar is opening the show. He's heading straight out, which means we're likely going to get a Brock Lesnar promo. That'll be weird. That'll be very weird. Good pop for Brock. He's wearing his lumberjack shirt again. Seems very happy to be there. Like, that's proper face. He's actually a face. Correct, Connor. No channel points at this moment. I've been trying to figure out the logistics of that. I've been trying to work it out. But I think I'm getting that. I'm dual streaming slightly differently to what I was doing earlier on today while I figured this out and seeing what the limitations are, but I don't know, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with how things are going so far. Things are going right. What can I say? What can I say? Well, thank you very much to everyone for joining me. We will be watching SmackDown in its entirety as long as nothing breaks. As long as nothing breaks, we'll be fine. I've just got to hope that nothing breaks, because that is a thing that can happen. Okay, that's a mixed response to Brock. There is clearly some cheers and some boos in there. We're going to get a Brock promo. Surely someone's going to interrupt before he actually starts cutting the promo. Brock Lesnar's never been trusted to do promos before. I'm sorry, is he soaking up the love? This is not the Brock Lesnar I'm used to. It's been about 20 years since we've had this Brock Lesnar. Bit of grey in his beard nowadays. Noob says this is the first time Brock Lesnar cutting a promo. It's not the first time, but it's rare. It's rare. Megan says, this is the happiest I've seen Brock without a boombox. Boombox Brock was the best. Boombox Brock was the best. Sami Zayn is a very brave man. Interrupting Brock Lesnar. We knew he wasn't going to get an actual promo. But Sami Zayn interrupting Brock Lesnar is a very brave man. Tommy says, hi, I'm tired too. Same match every week on Raw and SmackDown. Sami Zayn versus Roman or Sami Zayn versus Brock. It's not the same match. It is not the same match. It is probably the beard, that's true. That's true, Noob. That is true. Sean says, Ricochet said in an appearance on the Out of Character podcast that Randy Orton is a great guy backstage, always willing to help him, whether it's in person or via text. Randy Orton has become very different since he met his now wife. That's all I'll say. I don't think he's a low-key goat. That's the thing, Sean. I don't think Randy can be described as a low-key goat. I think the man's just a goat. Or the goat, I should say. The goat. Sammy's respecting the top knot. Brock's bored now. Which I like. That's disrespectful. Okay. Okay, Brock. Angry Wildor indeed, Megan. Respect from Sami Zayn for the Canada. I can't imagine that these two are going to be friends. I mean, in real life. Okay, protecting himself from swearing. Well done, Brock. Well done. Is that a valid question? I don't think he's actually going to eat you, mate. I don't think he's actually going to eat you. I think you're okay. You are not the locker room leader. Okay, but Sami Zayn is the number one contender. He's earned that. He was against all odds. All of this is fair. At day one, okay. We have confirmed at day one. So Sami Zayn is just full on blocking Brock Lesnar here. Sean, Inside the Ropes did not report that. Inside the Ropes repeated Dave Meltzer, who said, oh, Walter's looking a bit more buff. He might be coming to the main roster. Very different thing. That is a bad report, which is simply misleading. It is simply misleading. And that's the thing, Sean. If you look at the report, it's very clear. The quote from Dave Meltzer does not say that Walter's coming to the main roster. It is pure speculation. It quite annoyed me to read, I'll tell you that. It's just bad reporting. Connor says Sammy's going to get wrecked. I can't argue with that. Wow, Brock was thrilled for the cheap pop. Okay, I kind of love Brock all of a sudden. I'm actually very much enjoying this. Megan says, how far up in the air will Sammy go in a minute? I think the night will end with Sammy going flying. Another cheap pop, Brock? Don't Don't milk it too much. Tommy says that Lesnar will actually challenge Fidel Castro. Lesnar would. Bailey says it's actually a good Brock promo, given that it's not altogether comfortable on the mic. Very true. He's been hitting his lines and then he got very excited. He briefly just got very excited. As Connor says, Brock's having so much fun. I like Brock Lesnar. He's actually not bad at this. Historically, he's been very bad at this, but he's actually not bad at this. Sami Zayn with an inappropriate tit grab. You are not friends. Okay, we have a championship match. Which means that Roman is now available at day one. I don't know how serious Brock is because the Usos will be involved. The Usos will be involved, so Brock Lesnar on his side, at his back, might actually be a good thing. This is a good start. Megan says Brock's gonna unalive people. I suspect he will. I suspect the Usos are in trouble tonight. Connor says at least Sami is getting his title match. He is, and very soon, in fact. Very soon. Sean says I don't think Roman will defend at day one. Certainly not now. It was supposed to be against Sami, apparently. It's been unkayfabed. AK Ray, how the devil are you? I'm good, thank you. I'm good, AK. How are you? We're going to be dual streaming pretty much, I believe it's 4 times a week, AK, at least. So now that we're finally free of the sports team, as it were, finally free of the sports team and the detrimental effect that actually had, we can get back to the dual streams. We can have spoiler warning and the Raw and SmackDown watch-alongs on YouTube and on Twitch at the same time, and we can get our watch time up so that we can grow and grow again fast. I'm hyped. I am hyped. I'm hyped. Connor says Roman versus Brock at day one if Roman is going to defend. Makes the most sense to just taking his other alternative match. AK says Brock's promo was hilarious. I really enjoyed it. I genuinely loved it. Mr. Floodwater, welcome, said I'd love Brock to cost Roman. Not impossible, but very unlikely. Brock, after all, is here for the championship, not for Roman. Chelsea, welcome, says hi Tom. Haven't been watching WWE recently, but hope you're doing well. Thank you very kindly, and yourself. That was a bloody good segment, though. It was. It was. Who knew Brock had that in his arsenal? Master Game is excited for Sami versus Roman, but thinks Sami will win. I suspect essentially what's going to happen is that they're going to have a competitive match. Sami's going to be treated like a face. The Usos are going to get involved, at which point Brock's going to get involved. All hell will break loose, and the night will end with Roman running away from Brock Lesnar, just throwing away the Usos, and then lifting up Sami Zayn like, yeah, and away he goes. That could be fun. That could be fun. Chelsea says Brock and Sami is the next best thing. Well, Brock was the next big thing. Sami could be the next big thing. Batman says, do you think WWE don't want to rush Bianca versus Becky Lynch yet? Yes, we spoke about this a little bit earlier. Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair are always going to cross paths again. My personal opinion is it will happen more around SummerSlam time, and they will have someone else line up against Becky for WrestleMania. Chelsea says night will end with Brock holding the belt high. Indeed, I can definitely see that. Meanwhile, Connor is hyped for Brock and Sami as our next SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I'm not against it. All I'm saying is that I'm not against it. Mr. Floodwater is sick of a Becky versus Bianca match. Well, to be fair, we've had it a few times. They'll take a break now, and it'll be middle late next year that I think they'll come back to it, because at that point it's enough of a break to get back to two big name stars. I think Bianca will beat up Doudrop leading into the Royal Rumble, probably be eliminated by whoever she'll face around WrestleMania time, and go from there. AK says, can Brock be a part of the Rumble and bring out Volta in front of him in the Rumble? Possibly. That would be fun. That would definitely be fun. Sean says, Becky versus Bianca was announced for a house show and a steel cage match. Yeah, but that could potentially just be a draw match. You know, things that happen at house shows don't technically happen. Not really. Not really. But also kind of, but mostly not really. Sami Zayn is backstage with Sonya Deville. I think he's trying to beg off. If you are watching on YouTube, please do remember that you can click that like button. It makes a very big difference to the growth of the channel, and I would very much appreciate it. Thank you. And subscribe if you haven't already. Brock is here to leverage. Oh, Sonya Deville can make matches. I like that they've just put up the name for Brock Lesnar. And now it's confirmed. Brock will face Roman at day one. Welcome, Toxic Predator. It's been a little while. How you doing, man? How you doing? Great to see you. Megan said Adam's not there. Adam isn't there. Sonya Deville is going to run rampant. And Bailey shouts boss time. Because it is boss time. Sasha Banks is on her way down to the ring. Sounds like a one-on-one match. If it's one-on-one, what's it going to be? Sasha versus Shayna? It's going to be Sasha versus Natalya then, surely. Batman wants to see Bianca versus Rhea. I'm confident that day will come. Chelsea says, thoughts on Vincent Goldberg paying off the guy from the crowd who speared Seth Rollins. What? I tell you, people come out with the weirdest stuff sometimes. Connor suggests that Adam has run away because Brock is there. Look, we've been over this. There is only so many pairs of trousers that you can have ripped apart before you stop lining up against Brock Lesnar. Batman wants to see Bianca versus Rhea at WrestleMania. I'm not sure how many women's matches are going to be at WrestleMania, but we do have 2 nights. AK Ray says, name any 2 of which AEW should sign out of Kyle O'Reilly, Gargano, KO, and Keith Lee. Kyle O'Reilly and Kevin Owens. You said only name 2? I've named 2. Right, so we're opening SmackDown with Sasha Banks versus Shayna Baszler. If this gets at least 10 minutes... Oh no, they're actually serious. They showed Nia Jax. They showed Eva Marie. Oh no, they're serious. Megan, are you seeing this? The relaunch is happening. We got a proper Shayna Baszler vignette. If she gets rolled up in 20 seconds now. Maybe they haven't given up. No, but seriously, if they roll her up in 20 seconds... Okay, show me what we can do. Megan says, Sasha versus Shayna, I'm happy now. So you should be. It's a good call. Jill says, haven't you heard Jim Cornette was talking about it on his podcast? No, and I'm not going to, let's be honest. It sounds funny, but I don't want to give that a view. I don't want to do... Okay, good start. If this match gets 10 minutes, I'm going to be very happy. Connor says maybe Shayna's push is starting again. Maybe they realise that they've let it go a little too much. I don't think they have though. She's already untied her hair. That's usually a late in the day move for Shayna. We're doing suicide dive. Baseball slide's not quite the same. Oh, into an ankle lock. Okay, I like how we're starting. Jim Cornette's an experienced guy, but my God, does that guy make up a lot of things to be offended by. Sasha Banks in dominant position. Shayna taking a bit of a beating here. Jill says, why did they release Nia? And why did she say she probably won't ever wrestle again? They released Nia because they simply had no plans for her and didn't really want her to stay around. And the reason she said she probably won't ever wrestle again is because she's had a really bad experience with wrestling fans. Megan says, I want this to get at least 10 minutes so no one else better come to the ring. It's a good start so far. I mean, it's had a commercial break. That's a start. Noob, they don't have to show Nia Jax and Eva Marie. They chose to. Bailey says, still wonder how Sasha doesn't completely jam her knees on the Meteora. She leans back. Which is, of course, one of the biggest dangers of it. She leans back, so she doesn't land on her knees. She lands on her shins. Also, the other wrestler's supposed to brace so that she sort of rolls off. But not everyone remembers to... So she lands on you. You fall back, and then you roll back. Should be that simple. She gets to roll forwards. But not everyone remembers. So they don't do it early enough, so they grab her legs instead, and it just doesn't help anyone. Chelsea says the whole Nia versus Shayna could have been good. I think so. I think it could have been good. Nia Jax was at least a very credible heel. Everybody fucking hated her. A very fair point there, Noob. Jim Cornette likes to rant. He likes to rant a lot. So yeah, when it comes to credibility, I can't say that Jim Cornette's not credible. He's been involved in basically everything. He's a very experienced wrestling promoter. He knows his stuff. He also needs to be less involved in everything. Chelsea says they built up the story for literally months for nothing. And the whole Reggie thing, why? I don't really know. I think they'd gotten to the point where they would just sort of start throwing stuff at the wall and hoping with Nia Jax that some of it stuck. The tag team was good for the majority of it, but it outlived itself. And I have no doubt that there were plans for Nia Jax to involve Bianca Belair. I was speaking about them for months. And then she's gone. Connor says, after seeing that promo from Brock, I'm not as certain as I was that Brock needs Heyman to get himself back to doing well. I agree. I really enjoyed that promo, and I did not expect to because, let's face it, it's Brock Lesnar. Sean says, Ric Flair thinks WWE should give Charlotte a Roman Reigns push. Ric Flair is saying whatever is necessary to keep himself in the public eye so that people watch his podcast. He'll say anything. Megan says, from what I can tell, Jim Cornette is basically the possibly drunk relative at a holiday party who makes sense about 15% of the time. The rest is just rants of offensive verbal diarrhea. That's about accurate, yeah. If we were to describe it in layman's terms, the guy's a dick. I think I've nailed that. I feel confident. I think I've nailed it. Chelsea says, also, how could they release Nia without selling my whole merch? That's millions of dollars that they missed out on. It actually is. That genuinely will have shifted. That would have flown. Just as an opportunity to further embarrass Nia Jax. People would have taken that. They absolutely would. It's the right call. What can I say? Megan says they're trying to make Brock Friday a thing. That can't be fun. Oh, okay, good sell. Sasha Banks selling hard for Shayna there. This is a Baszler rebuild. I don't know if she's going to win, but it's a rebuild. Connor says calling Cornette a dick is an insult to dicks. I mean, there are some nice dicks. I say that as a man who may or may not be bisexual. Nobody's really sure. Bailey says Jim Cornette is 110% old school wrestling, and that's not as popular today among everyone. That's true. That's true. But at the same time, he's also massively offensive to people intentionally. Because hey, that's how you make a name for yourself nowadays. Shayna, why do you want jewellery? As opening matches at SmackDown go, though, this is powerful stuff. Chelsea says he thinks Sasha is genuinely hurt. Doesn't seem to be. I think she's just selling pretty good. She's still rocking out a little bit. Yeah, seriously, as an opening match goes, it's pretty impressive. Baszler also pointedly without Natalya or without Sonya Deville. For once she stands alone. That hasn't really happened since she arrived on SmackDown. Fair enough, Connor. I understand what you're saying. Chelsea says, do you think Sasha will dye her hair red if she moves to Raw? No, that'd be stepping on Becky's toes. She's careful with the colours she goes for. I like the blue, to be honest. Looks good. Also, she's trying to rep SmackDown. Sasha, for the longest time, has been Raw through and through. But she committed to SmackDown, and it's paying off. Can confirm the match has had 10 minutes. The crowd are into it as well. Nice from Shayna. She's just sort of escaping Sasha at the minute. I can't tell if we're heading into a finish. Oh, nice. Very nice reversal. No, don't do it. Okay. Shayna Baszler, as we know, is weak to the lean back cover. Also weak to this cover. Well played. Well played. That is some lovely reversals. Oof. Again, really good sell from Sasha. She's putting Shayna over today. You've already hit that move. Never try and move twice. That's it. They got some time. Sasha sold. I'm not too annoyed. I'm not too annoyed. But seriously, never go for the same move twice. It never pays off. Never pays off. Chelsea says this is the first time in a year I've had no interest in watching WWE the last few weeks. Knowing there's no pay-per-view this month makes it less interesting. I'm enjoying what they're doing. I think Raw was good, but SmackDown last week was not. So, hit and miss. Sean says, I'd like to see Alexa go back to SmackDown. Nothing else she can do on Raw. She can still compete for championships. It's been a while. Outside of the match against Charlotte, she hasn't been involved in championships since Ronda Rousey. Megan says, I like having time between pay-per-view shows. It means that we're not having things be rushed for the sake of building a last-minute card. I agree. I really do agree. Adam Pearce is genuinely running away. Sonya Deville, not happy with that. Bailey says maybe Megan would know how many times they've wrestled before. This was a very good match. Megan has answered this. Only the second time Sasha and Shayna have faced each other 1v1. Oh, hey, it's Drew McIntyre. He's tall. Hey KJ, how you doing, man? You're right, Connor. Adam was indeed running away. I'm going to guess you were going Shayna there, KJ, so I know you don't like Shayna losing, but I don't like Sasha losing, which is fair. One of them had to lose, and it wouldn't be a good thing. I would have rather had that match than Sasha versus Natalya. There was a definite effort to rebuild Shayna there. It's Happy Corbin time. Every week we see this guy. No, Chelsea, you can't see behind someone in wrestling. It's the rules. Megan's just enjoying the fact that Drew McIntyre is there. And Connor says, to be fair, I would run away from Brock as well. I don't play. Oh, God, what the hell? Oh, Tom. And Megan says, also loving Sonya, a more relaxed look tonight. The jumper suits her. Everything suits her. Hall of Pain, welcome. Just says Cesaro versus Sheamus. I'm sure their day will come again very soon. They are kind of feuding already. Connor says Corbin not being at the top of the hour, surprising. I wanted to say it, but I couldn't think of a way to do it. Nailed it. And KJ is missing bum ass. Corbin. Megan says, is Corbin trying to out-ugly outfit Steph? That takes hard work. That takes a lot of effort. Oh, we have happy talk. We have happy talk. Isn't that what everyone's really looking for? Chelsea says, oh yes, my bad. And also you have the watch TV from behind the screen. You do. You cannot just watch a TV. You can't. You can't take that risk. You can't take that risk. Oh, Chelsea. Burn. KJ says, have we ever seen Corbin's legs before? No. I swear it's the first time. Got more tattoos than I expected. Old Pain says SmackDown lost in the draft. I kind of agree, but I also kind of don't. They lost Becky and Seth and Edge, yeah, but SmackDown was overstacked anyway. I do think in the end they did lose out, but had to be balanced. AK says the problem with WWE, always a good start, is that they try to protect everyone by not having a decisive finish, but it just doesn't help any competitors to build up further. Well, that wasn't the most decisive, but I think Shayna needed that. Shayna needed that for me. And Connor says, Corbin is failing if he's trying to out-ugly outfit Seth. Corbin's outfit doesn't make me want to be sick. It's a good start. It's difficult to out-ugly outfit Seth Rollins. Seth is a connoisseur of ugly outfits. He's a master of ugly outfits. He knows how to ugly outfit. That's all I'm saying. As we get to 33 minutes into the show, I want to take a moment to say, if you are watching on YouTube at the moment, please do remember to click that like button. It makes a really big difference to my growth as a channel and potentially could gain me some extra viewers just from your like alone. So please do consider clicking that thumbs up, even if you are only briefly on that channel. It makes a big difference to me and I very, very much appreciate it. Thank you. So far, we've had a genuinely very exciting Brock Lesnar promo. Not something I expected I would be saying today. But so far, we've had that. And we also had a very fun opening match between Sasha Banks and Shayna Baszler. Yeah, I don't like seeing Shayna lose. I will forgive it this time because at least it wasn't in 2 minutes. That's the key thing for me. At least it was more than a couple of seconds of match. We had something to sink our teeth into. So far, I'm saying good SmackDown. Plenty of time for it to completely fail all over again. Plenty of time, as we know, for it all to collapse entirely. Chelsea said, I just had the McDonald's festive chicken burger. No one should get it. It's not good. Okay. I'm guessing that's a chicken burger with sage and onion stuffing, because I don't want that. I don't want that. Free Sort of Wrestling Podcast, welcome, says, who faces Reigns at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view if Brock gets a title shot at day one? I'm genuinely not sure. I'm really not. I would imagine someone considerably lower down the card. Maybe Boogs? I'm just throwing out a name here, but maybe Boogs. Boogs v Roman? Anyone else? Boogs v Roman? AK says AJ's blind segment on Raw was one of the funniest things in a while for WWE. Was hoping they would extend it for 2 to 3 weeks. You are one of very few people who enjoyed it. If social media is anything to go by, it's absolutely... social media in general, absolutely livid about that particular section. Chelsea says, it's annoying because I want to go to sleep, but I also need to see Sami versus Roman. Then they have done a good job today. They have done a good job. Connor, unfortunately, it's all about my headphones. It's all about my headphones. You just got to stay in your cupboard. Okay, we have seen this design quite a lot in the last few days. Sorry, the last few Smackdowns. Mostly as regards Xavier Woods. Right, there's no extra chairs for Happy Talk. It looks like it's just going to be these two. The hat rack. I still love the hat rack. I just love the hat rack. Okay, people are actually clapping. Why are people actually clapping? Sean says, I've heard the new Ghostbusters movie is good. Still doesn't draw me to watch it. I'm tempted. I'm actually tempted. Freaks the Wrestling says, what about Jeff Hardy getting the title shot at the Rumble? I'd like that. I think there were certainly suggestions of that. AK says Hardy versus Roman at day one. Brock will be facing Roman at day one. Chelsea says, I'm so excited for a Royal Rumble with a crowd. It's going to be very different, isn't it? I can only imagine how much the wrestlers are excited for it. KJ says it would have to be Jeff Wright. That's in my opinion the biggest match aside from Drew due to Hardy's popularity. I agree, and it looks like Baron Corbin will continue to work with Jeff Hardy. Just to remind us all that he's a big deal. And Megan says, surely no one is this happy about some substances. Riddick Moss certainly seems to be enjoying himself a lot. I can't survive the laugh. I just can't. That's a lot of leg tattoos. I'm pretty sure he was told previously to cover up his tattoos. Guessing he's enjoying the fact that he no longer has to. Okay, now Corbin's going up arguing about Drew. There is a Corbin versus Drew McIntyre feud coming, just to be clear. Oh God, no. I can't handle Riddick Moss. I don't think McIntyre is too happy with Baron Corbin. The sword's very much a thing now, and I'm not sure I entirely like it. Chelsea says it better have some big surprise at the Rumble. Any predictions, Tom? Not really. Not really. I don't think there's going to be that many actual surprises. Gotta be honest. KJ says Tom gets confused when uh-oh gets over and clapping along with Corbin. You must have never watched AEW. They chant when someone is breathing. Well, I have watched AEW. There's not much of it. As it turns out, Drew McIntyre was a distraction. Jeff Hardy taking his chance and just beating up everyone. Okay, I was wondering why Riddick Moss didn't go down. As it turned out, it was so that he could get Claymored. The kip-up is even more impressive in jeans. Just all I want to say. All I want to say. Megan says, how many letters of the alphabet do you think they've smoked in order to be like this? Quite a few. Quite a few. I actually quite like the hat. It's 2 years, Connor. It's 2 years. In fact, there was only one Rumble with no crowd, man. Only one Rumble. Sean says, why was Corbin told to cover his leg tattoos offensive? No, just in general, WWE wrestlers are told to hide tattoos and not get any more unless they're in NXT. It's why Finn was in NXT when he got his hand tattoo. Ghost of Nay, welcome. Says, don't they know to never mess with a man with a sword? They should. They should. AK says, every time I think of day one, I start singing the Usos theme with day one-ish. I think that's the play. I think it's essentially, it's a bloodline pay-per-view. Much like Rock Bottom pay-per-view way back when. Ooh, more Xia Li. KJ says Drew's going to swing his sword and bust a bottle of whatever is in there. He's going to do whatever the hell he wants. Freaks of Wrestling wants AJ Lee in the Women's Royal Rumble so bad. That's absolutely not going to happen, because as soon as she walks into the arena, you just get thousands upon thousands of people chanting CM Punk and just completely basically laughing in her face for not being someone else. Disrespecting her. Ooh, Xia Li debuting next week. Who against? Natalia? It's got to be Natalia, surely. Who's she protecting? Is she protecting Aaliyah? Maybe AK. I think Edge is supposed to be there. Just says you don't think there'll be any surprise entrances at all. Give at least one prediction. I really don't think there's going to be many, if any, real surprise entrances. I think it'll mostly be in the women's, and I think it'll be people like Kelly Kelly. I think that's the best they're going to get. No, Chelsea, I do not think anyone from AEW could show up. Okay, now she's become a destroyer? I don't really know what Xia Li's character is still. I don't feel that they know. We have the Viking Raiders heading down to action. Crowd seem positive, which is always good. Ghost of Nate says that was actually a decent floss from Jeff. The man can dance. I don't know how, but he can. Jill says, who's scared of a blunt prop sword though? Well, if Drew McIntyre's swinging it, I'm dodging out of the way. Basically, if Drew McIntyre is swinging it in my direction, I don't want to be there. Because if he hits me with that thing, I'm in trouble. That's bad. That's bad. That is just bad. KJ says, will we see Paige in the Rumble? I mean, it's the reason they're saving her, right? Making all these cuts and she's around still. Unless Vince just values her very high. They're not paying her, mate. Her contract is frozen because of injury. They're not paying her. That's why she's still around. We got rain. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Paige. She's injured. Seriously. Jill says, why don't you think there'll be any surprises this year for the Men's Rumble? Who would they bring? Like, who've they got? Also, they have to still respect the system they have in place for Roman, which basically means there's few unauthorized and unchecked people coming in. So I think because of Omicron as well, you got to factor that. COVID's not gone, man. COVID's not gone. Connor says, I'm ducking out of the way if anything Drew is swinging. If he's swinging it, I'm running. I'm just running. Larry says, I picked up a real broadsword once, got it up in the air, nearly fell over. They are bloody heavy. It's a strong man. It's a real sword. It's not sharp, but it's a real sword. Kura says the entrance for this tag team, so the Viking Raiders, makes him want to play Raid Shadow Legends. You go right ahead. Also, maybe don't. Ghost of Nay says, God's gift to women is a tagline for Angel and Humberto. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of the whole thing. That is kind of the whole thing. Freaks of Wrestling says, wow, Owens versus Big E in a steel cage match on Raw this Monday. Good. I want as much as we can possibly get from them. At Chelsea, Roman is immunocompromised. Because he's immunocompromised, there is a specialist bubble around him. So they are very careful as to who works with him, and they are basically anyone working with him has to get regularly checked, more so than anyone else, and so on. He's calming down a little bit, but not as much as he may need. Hello, Kuro. How you doing, man? Connor says, Angel literally takes his trousers off in the ring. Good. So they should. And Sean says, does he freeze everyone's contract when they are injured? It depends on the contract. I know they do with most people. Shawn Michaels' contract was frozen all that long time ago. Megan says, the swords will be made of solid steel. They're not going to be like a bit of foil or a tube of wrapping paper. It's a real sword. It's a real sword. Yeah, I think we all know what Lothario means, man. I think we know what that one means. Connor, bless you. You're young, you're carefree, and you're innocent. And the longer we can make that continue, the better. The longer, the better. Yeah, the contract basically means, from what I can tell, that she doesn't get paid, but the contract continues. But then again, the WWE historically frees you while you're injured. Look at Jeff Hardy; he just got a load of time added on. They're trying to add time onto Paige's contract. She's just not having any of it. Much like they tried to stop her having a Twitch, and she said no. Her contract is up next June. They will try and say no, legally you have to stay. They actually have no leg to stand on there, and she knows that. Interesting, Larry. I did not know that. Didn't even know there was Spanish third division. I don't think there's concern about being a new pay-per-view, KJ. Pay-per-view is a pay-per-view. WWE doesn't really worry about new or old. It's just they always have pay-per-views. You mind me? Fair enough. You had me. You had me a little bit. Bailey says, Tom, do you see a future where WWE or AEW sign much, much shorter contracts so they can move talent in and out? Yes and no. Yes and no. We will start to get shorter contracts now that the WWE have released all of the people that they've released. The contracts will get shorter just as a natural byproduct of this. AEW, I feel, have realised now that they are releasing quite a lot of people. They have realised that maybe they were overzealous with their contracts to start off with. Right, so Chelsea is suggesting some surprise Rumble entrance. Braun Strowman? No. Finlay? No. Santino Marella? No. Great Khali? Maybe. Batista? No. Chris Masters? No. Sin Cara? No. Kane? Probably. Zack Ryder? No. Most of them would get a pop. Most of them never want to work with WWE again. Christian was good. He managed to leverage that into a pretty good contract for the competition. Megan says Humberto lost his last name too. Yeah, too many letters apparently. Too many letters. Nobody will remember that. Nobody will remember that. Sean says, is Alexa's contract frozen or did they not freeze contract when a superstar takes time off? That'll be part of the discussion that they had. Basically, the WWE take it on a case-by-case basis. Also, at the moment, she's apparently ready to return whenever they want her to. It just hasn't actually happened yet, so it's kind of their fault. KJ says maybe Kane at the most. Batista is retired and almost everyone is signed elsewhere. Yeah, pretty much. No, Chelsea, Batista is legit retired. He only ever wanted to come back for one match. That match happened. He never wants to come back again. Megan says the titles are already gone. He has a thing now, Angel Garza, where he just throws them straight at his opponent, just from the off. I was going to say Lothario's getting a proper build, but then here come the Boogs. Where'd they come from? Is this the beginning of a Viking Raiders rebuild? I don't think so. I definitely don't think so. Yeah, no. Los Lotharios pick up the win. The distraction from Nakamura and Boogs did not really work out in the favour of the Viking Raiders. Chelsea says, I think Santino Marella will be amazing. Imagine him coming in, getting eliminated after 1 second will be funny. And taking a place from someone who might actually get something good out of it. I disagree. Cora wants Booker T as a surprise Rumble entrant. Booker T does not want that. Ghost of Nace says they don't have the budget for last names anymore. Fair. Fair. Looks like the Viking Raiders might be picking a fight here. Are we getting a Viking Raider heel turn? No, we're not. Viking Raiders have got behind it. Pat McAfee's trying. He's going to fall off that chair. That chair is bouncing all over the place. I'm sure there'll be novelty entrances, Chelsea. I just don't think they'll be particularly exciting. Larry says if they're going to push people, they need them on long contracts. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Brock Lesnar's original contract was only for about 2 years. They pushed him pretty strong. Batman says, what do you think of Bianca Belair's call-up? It went really, really well. She's a star now. Megan says the next time we'll see Batista is for his Hall of Fame induction. I agree. And that makes sense to me. It looks like our draw segment will be Charlotte Flair. Not a surprise, that. We're getting a recap of Charlotte and Toni Storm, which did not end well for Toni Storm. Like, at all. Chelsea says, Pat McAfee just annoys me now. I liked him at first. It's the other way around for me. I hated him to start with, but I got used to him. Sean says, NXT names I can see in the Women's Rumble. Io, Cora, Dakota, Zoe, if cleared, and Raquel. That still leaves 5 spots. KJ says, how does Pat not fall? Luck. Mostly luck. Connor says, chance of Bad Bunny being in the Rumble? High. I'd say high. I can see Bad Bunny being involved in some capacity. Chelsea wants to see Martin Tyler as a commentator for WWE. Martin Tyler does not want that. Okay. Backstage we have Toni Storm laughing about the fact that she was embarrassed. This is not good. I like that particular sing-song voice. She didn't try to embarrass you. She successfully embarrassed you. Okay. When a wrestler says, I'm in their head, they lose. Pretty reliable on that one. That was not good. And that is fake applause. Oh, our draw segment is the Usos. Oh, happy with that. Megan says Bad Bunny would be a laugh and he'd probably be up for it too. Yeah, he does love the wrestling. Bailey says, would Pat McAfee be a novelty entrant in the Rumble? If he's been training for it, yeah, but he hasn't. Go says the whole segment between Toni and Charlotte last week really wasn't good for anyone, especially Toni. I agree. It was good for Charlotte. Good for Charlotte. Connor says, it's Tony the Tiger. And Chelsea said, Bad Bunny at the Royal Rumble would be good, to be fair. I'd imagine he would get another WrestleMania match. Chelsea wants Hornswoggle because he's been gone too long. He was in the Rumble 2 years ago. Well, he was in the Women's Rumble 2 years ago. Kind of. KJ says, was there any doubt that Charlotte would lose the title? She's not going to lose the title. She's definitely not going to lose the title. It's not that I don't see it, it's that it's just not going to happen. She's Charlotte Flair. Xavier Woods will take on Jey Uso. Seems like next up for the Usos is going to be a feud with New Day, that being Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. So just more of the same, but it's always reliable and fun. So Megan says, it's funny that Charlotte's being placed as a veteran of the two, given Toni has been wrestling longer. Toni debuted in 2009, Charlotte debuted in 2012. I still remember seeing Toni Storm at 20 years old walk into a PCW arena to take on Mickie James. And I really enjoyed that match. She's a very good wrestler, is Toni Storm. It's not enough. It's just not enough. We need to see character and personality, and I don't feel that Toni Storm's really had a chance to show that. At least not yet. Megan says, oh no, more Usos versus New Day. Horrible. Horrible, isn't it? Nobody wants to see more of that amazing feud that always delivers. Nobody wants to see that. As we're about halfway through, let me recap the top. Hi, my name is Tom Colohue, for anyone who doesn't already know. I'm currently dual streaming on both Twitch and YouTube, because that's how these watch parties work, and that's how it's going to be going forwards. Every Monday, you will get a Raw watch along and you will get spoiler warning on both Twitch and YouTube. On Tuesday, you will get Football Manager, at the moment just on Twitch, but I may be setting up a new channel just for the hell of it, because why the hell not? It's not like I lose anything by doing so. For the YouTube and Football Manager. But that's on Tuesdays. And then on Fridays, much like today, you'll get spoiler warning at 10 PM and you will get the Smackdown watch parties. I'm hoping to put a lot of attention into YouTube over the next few months, because ultimately I feel Twitch has given me basically all it can. YouTube, however, we're 3/4 of the way to monetization. Monetization will automatically be higher and a greater income than Twitch with the same amount of subscriptions, because the subscriptions on Twitch are 50-50 to me and Twitch, whereas on YouTube it's 70 to me and 30 to YouTube. Very different situation. Also, of course, on YouTube, once monetized, video views will gain me money. So people don't even need to subscribe for me to be generating cash. So that's what I'm focusing on at the moment. That's why I'm dual streaming. And hopefully, if you haven't already, you can pop over to YouTube and subscribe there. I'm still trying to grow, still trying to gain. And hopefully, over time, I will find myself more audience and develop even further. I hope everyone's happy with this arrangement. I understand I've done a lot of back and forth over the last few months, but this was necessary. And we'll see the level of growth that we can achieve from it. Chelsea says, watched any Premier League matches this week, Tom? Yes, I watched the Liverpool derby. I watched Liverpool. I enjoyed it. Everton did just enough to keep it interesting, and then it suddenly wasn't. KJ says, I predict Woods wins the match and the Usos attack him after the match, then Kofi returns. I don't know if that's too early for Kofi, but we'll see. It won't be too long. I mean, he wasn't really injured. The Usos have microphones. I always quite like that. Sean says, as regards Usos and New Day, the Hell in a Cell match was amazing. It really was. One of my favourites. Hell in a Cell has some very good contenders, but it's easily one of my favourites. Ghost says, to be honest, why did they bring back the King of the Ring this year if the importance behind it got stomped by Roman's boot? At least Queen Zelina has been successful since she got the crown. Xavier Woods, just get a new crown. It's Xavier Woods. That's what he does. And he says we need to see her in matches to build her up. Yeah, it's very true. And Connor says, Twitch gave you me, a man in your cupboard. What more could you want? Yeah, and I believe it's given me everything it can. A man in my cupboard. Usos laughing at Sami Zayn and Brock Lesnar. It's a risk. It's a risk. We haven't seen any sign of Roman Reigns as of yet. Uso speaking for him here. Connor says, oh, the Usos are smashing men now, so it's a family thing. They know how to smash. What can I say? Sometimes you just got to respect the smash. Oh, absolutely, Megan. Absolutely. Ghost, you got to respect the smash. We've been over this. strong Usos chant, the Usos in fact have to silence it themselves. Well, they've still got the massive 3D crown for Xavier Woods. This music suits him so perfectly. This is perfect. Hall of Pain, you just really love Sheamus, don't you? I'm sure we'll see him tonight. Immediately suggest Kofi is coming. I think so, Megan. Xavier Woods would be the hardest working man right now. He has been for a long time, to be fair. Because he does so much more than just wrestle. Go on, Xavier. Look how happy he is. Look at his happy little face. Is it weird to say that I love this man? Kofi Kingston has indeed returned, just in time. Definitely a tag team championship match coming. Is Kofi Kingston the only member of the New Day who doesn't have his own theme? The guy was WWE champion for 6 months. Connor says, Tom, I'd appreciate if you did not make the cupboard colder. It's already quite cold. I try my best to keep it chill. Megan says, I actually think that if you don't like Xavier, Kofi and Big E as people, then I'm not sure I can trust you. That's the litmus test, really, isn't it? Hi, this is New Day. Do you like them? I don't know who they are. Well, clearly we'll never be friends. Oh, he did. Of course he did, noob. Of course he did. I forget about all that time when Kofi Kingston wasn't in the New Day. When I came back to wrestling, he was already there. That was my first introduction to him. I can't imagine a Kofi Kingston with no New Day. SOS. Okay, now I'm remembering. Thanks, guys. Every time I get something massively wrong, you guys are there to be like, Tom, you're fucking wrong, mate. Sort your shit out. And then I do. And then I do. Hello, Conrad. How you doing, man? It is damn good to see you. How are you enjoying SmackDown today? And just generally, how are you? I mean, these purple cans, Connor. They're just wonderful little purple cans. Got a slightly different style of purple can today as well. Keeping me company. Nice and chilled. I may genuinely have a problem when it comes to the cherry coke, though. That's why I decided to move some things around. Chelsea says, every time I think of singles Kofi, I just picture Randy Orton shouting, stupid, stupid. Yeah, Randy Orton's a very different man now, thankfully. Thanks to that moment when he had the wedding ring that his future wife lodged in his butt cheeks. If you don't know that story, it's funny. It is funny. Indeed, Connor. Conrad says, I'm well. I've enjoyed some and disliked other parts of the show. So far, I've just been a big fan of pretty much most of it. So, it's an improvement from last week, I feel. Oh, well, that was short. That match basically just didn't even happen. Did they just spend so long introducing Kofi that they just all fell apart? The Raiders segment was strange, that's true. They lost the match and then were like, alright, well, at least you can play music. Why were they even there? I digress. Noob says, looks like we're getting some returns this week. Starting with Miz and Maurice on Monday. Now Kofi Kingston might see Mustafa Ali return. Was he not in the Battle Royal last week? I swear he was. Megan says Kim Orton should go in the Hall of Fame for the good work she's done making Randy less of an insufferable git. She has done a really good job. Like, I want to give some of that credit to him because he's changed. But also, yeah, kind of. When Randy Orton proposed to his wife, he did it while dancing with her. And in order to hide the ring, he had to hide it literally by lodging it between his butt cheeks. And then he got up and danced with his wife. It's a really romantic dance while clenching as hard as possible, but not too hard. Hall of Pain says, who's your favourite wrestler now? Probably AJ. When it comes to actual wrestler, AJ all the way. We have our first sighting of Roman Reigns. Roman's not happy with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's getting surprised a lot recently. He's not the wisest of men at the moment. Noob says the New Day just continues to rip the bloodline a new one. That's the way. Oh no, Ghost of Nay, I meant Ali. Mustafa Ali, I believe, was in the Battle Royal last week. I know Kofi wasn't. Drew and New Day versus the Bloodline. That's cool. Chelsea says thoughts on Edge and Beth versus Miz and Maurice. I believe that's what they're lining up for WrestleMania this year. Sean says one day ago on Instagram, WWE released a top 5 most listened to themes of 2021. Sorry guys. Number 5, the Nakamura theme. Fair. RK Bro theme. Fair. Seth's theme. Fair. Jeff Hardy theme. Fair. Roman theme. Okay. All I can really say is okay. Charlotte Flair is on her way down to the ring. Looking like the definition of Amazonian goddess as always. She's just the definition of power. Connor is hyped for more smashing. Megan also seems excited that there is more smashing on the horizon. Noob says, slightly differently, the tribal chief is ready for blood. Ready for blood. Oh god damn it, what is my nose doing to me? Storm warning for Charlotte Flair up next. Fair, Megan, thank you very much. That is very likely. I'm going to go scratch fuck out of my nose. I'm going to be back in just a moment, guys. And I'm going to pop to the bathroom as well. See you in just a moment. Hello again. Welcome back to the show. Still 50 minutes of Smackdown to go. And it has not been bad. KJ is saying Edge, Beth versus Miz Maurice at Mania. Why have that before and have Edge face AJ at Mania? Everyone's really eager for Edge versus AJ. WWE is probably going to tease it and draw it out for as long as possible. Who will be the next US and WWE champion? Whoever can beat Damian Priest and Big E. So probably Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley. I'm sticking to it. KJ says according to bodyslam.net, which I don't feel this is public interest. I really don't. I don't think anyone should be reporting this, but you've said it now. Andrade and Charlotte have broken up and it wasn't mutual. Charlotte ended it. Wonder what happened. I don't think that's journalism. That's gossip column. That's just full-on gossip column. Oh, we get an appearance from Aaliyah backstage, just sort of walking along with Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. I don't know if we'll see much more of her. No, it's not your fault, KJ. It's not your fault. I don't feel they should have reported that. It's not your fault for bringing news in. The news is out there now. Chelsea says, are you excited for Christmas? I am. I need to start buying things though. I need to hurry up on that one. I've got 3 weeks. It's not good. My favourite fast food place. I'm a sucker for Domino's. And Megan says, not sure if this has been mentioned, but Tony Nese is officially all elite. It has been for a little while, as I recall. It may have been mentioned at some point. I can't really remember. We talk about a lot of stuff in here. A lot of stuff. The New Day are indeed going for the championships. Charlotte Flair has literally just been standing in the ring, waiting for her music to turn down so that she can start talking. I hate that they do that. They literally just stick someone in the ring and tell them, alright, just wait. Oh, they just go around to the graphic, Megan. Bloody hell. The effort they make. San Antonio a bit less welcoming of Charlotte Flair than she's had elsewhere. Still gets a cheap pop though. Bailey probably nowhere. Talent is actively being cut from AEW. Big Swole's just the first person to outwardly say it. Girl says forgot to do trending topics, but here we go. SmackDown is trending #1 in the US, alongside Brock and Corbin. Tony Storm at 18 and Viking Red is at 21. Not bad. Not bad for Tony Storm, certainly. Charlotte Flair speaking for WWE there. #1 doesn't acknowledge #2. Hall of Pain, you're saying the same thing again and again. I'm not going to respond. There's nothing new to communicate with. It's that simple. I'm not going to read the same message 20 times. Charlotte is on one tonight. Is she worried she's going to get watted? She is just unhappy. Connor. Wait, What does that mean, noob? What's your question? Right, so the logical follow-up in this segment is that now Toni Storm walks down, goads Charlotte into accepting a challenge, and then they confirm the match at day one anyway. No Hall of Pain. I can't do next year predictions for the draft. It's like 10 months away. Sean, that was brought in by KJ. I don't think Body Slam should be reporting that, to be honest. It's just, that's not journalism, that's gossip columning. Chelsea says, I'm thinking about flying to St. Louis, Missouri for Royal Rumble. Anyone from America here know if it's a nice place to travel? Well, Randy Orton comes from there, so it's deadly. Don't be a legend in St. Louis. Is that seriously the whole segment? Are we serious with this? Are we actually serious with this? The feud's all about pie. You gotta punch her in the face. Could have punched her in the face. Instead, pie. Pie. Anyway. We're getting a reminder of the debut of Rich Holland, where he just lost to Cesaro in short order. Sheamus now making his entrance. While I'd imagine the walkway is getting very quickly cleaned. Connor prefers his pie with chicken. I like a good chicken and mushroom pie. Sometimes I'm a steak pie guy, and then I'm not a steak pie guy because it's a bit gristly. Depends on steak pie. There you go. Bailey says St. Louis downtown is safe. All parts of the city are rough. That's rough. We are indeed getting Cesaro versus Sheamus again up next. I say again. It's been a while since the Best of 7 series. It's been a while since the tag team. Those two did really good work together. Let's see if they can do really good work together in a slightly different way now. New says, I'm not taking Charlotte Flair and Toni Storm seriously in this feud. At least I take Liv Morgan and Becky seriously. I think the point is you're supposed to be underestimating Toni Storm, but surely not this much. Because I am not even interested at this point. She's a good wrestler. It's not enough. Megan is suggesting haggis and chicken in peppercorn sauce pie. That's a combination enough. Connor says, none of that cream pie they're using on SmackDown, not a fan of cream. I was very disappointed to find out that cream pie is actually a genuine type of pie. I thought it was just a very bad crude joke. Well, there you go, Hall of Pain. Well done. Says Cesaro needed to go to Raw and Bailey. Well, Bailey's out injured, so she couldn't go anywhere, and probably will still be going to Raw if you've been following the channel. As regards Cesaro, I do feel he needed a change. He didn't get one, but I do feel he needed one. Megan says, from what I can find, the last time Sheamus faced Cesaro one-on-one was in the Best of 7 back in 2016. And it's been a long time. 5 years. And that led to probably one of the strongest tag team runs in a long time, to be fair. They got together as a team. They won championships. They beat everyone. Then they broke up. Easy. I still remember the Iron Man tag team match with the Hardys. The Hardy Boys, even though they're like in their 40s. Good times. Good times. I remember the cage match. Remember the ladder match. There is some good stuff out there. Connor says, before they broke up, they lost a Braun and a child. Yep. Hey, respect to your undefeated champion, Nicholas. Bailey says, Sunday's War Games, is anyone wrestling their last NXT match en route to the main roster? I think there are some people wrestling their last NXT match, but I don't think it's en route to the main roster. I think it's en route somewhere else. Sean says, who remembers when Cesaro got that nasty tooth injury against Seth and Dean? I remember that. I remember the beach ball as well. I fondly remember the beach ball incident. Those two just... It just worked. It just worked perfectly. They were able to generate real excitement just by doing whatever they were doing themselves. They didn't have to be fancy. They didn't have to put on great promos because, let's face it, they didn't. Does anyone else remember Ice Shamey? Not the greatest of promos, but when they got in the ring, they just beat the crap out of everyone, and it was great. It's all you need sometimes. Just a friend who'll help you smash someone, you know? Roman's into the smashing. Let's talk about it. If you had a friend who's just going to help you smash someone, or smash many people, isn't that like a solid friend? Isn't that someone you want in your life? So far tonight I've had a Xia Li vignette, a Shayna Baszler vignette, and now a Ricochet vignette. I like what they're doing. I feel like they're just trying to keep people in the public eye, as it were. Make sure we don't forget about them. I like it. It's probably going to work. Because I've got to be honest, it's easy to forget about Ricochet at times. To be fair, Sheamus probably has been waiting for this for a long time. One of these should be a future Intercontinental Champion. I've interviewed Cesaro, and he made it clear that there is a race on between the two of them as to who gets that Intercontinental Championship first. Maybe, Connor. Maybe. Not sure on Gargano. Genuinely not. Hall Payne says, will the New Day defeat the Usos? Maybe. KJ says, Ricochet vignette push incoming. Definitely has been on a better run since coming to SmackDown. I'm not sure about a push, but it's clear they don't want us to forget about him, which is a good sign. Kervin, welcome, says Toni Storm versus Charlotte. A pie match coming soon. Oh god, it's going to be a pie and a pole, isn't it? It's going to be a pie and a pole. Right, we have Sheamus versus Cesaro. They're playing up the history, and I like that. I can only imagine what's actually going to happen is that the match is going to go so well, Cesaro is going to start to win, and then Rich Holland's going to turn up. Oh, sorry. Is Rich Holland just watching a TV? That's not what he's supposed to do in dub. Was he literally just watching TV? But I've watched wrestling. That's not something that happens. You don't just watch TV. You look over here somewhere. I'm very confused. I feel I'm in a world that no longer makes sense. I like that Sheamus and Cesaro's attire is still kind of matching. It's still kind of matching. KJ says, here's a question. Is the Bar going to the Hall of Fame? Sheamus is a Hall of Famer. I'm not sure about Cesaro. I think Sheamus will. I don't think the Bar will as a team. They had one very good run. Now, if they get back together now, they'll probably make it work. Hall of Pain says, AEW versus WWE. Who will win? The fans. We get better programming. Connor says, how's Ridge watching TV? It's how it's done on NXT. At least NXT have tough people sometimes. You gotta be really tough to watch TV, tell you that. Girl says, Drew technically got 2 segments tonight. Wonder why Jeff barely got a minute of screen time. Not sure. Maybe we'll see more of him. Maybe he'll get a promo in a couple of minutes. I believe that's commercial break. Cesaro looking very strong. No, apparently not. Kevin says, why the WWE don't push Shayna Baszler like a main event star? You got me. It's a damn good question. She's got what it takes. They're just not letting her show that. It confuses me that people don't believe in Shayna. Now guys, while I've got a moment, while Cesaro's just had his momentum quelled, if you're watching on Twitch, please do remember to click that purple follow button. Makes a big difference here on the channel for our personal growth, and also means that we keep fueling these watch parties. If you're watching on YouTube, of course, please remember to give that little thumbs up and hit like. And if you haven't already done so, please do click subscribe. Makes a big difference as we continue to grow the channel and just try and find new and interesting ways to make people interested. Sheamus accusing Cesaro of holding him back. They are really... I feel like these two were told, yeah, you're wrestling. And then they just decided that they were going to make a big deal out of it. They put something good together there. Sheamus picks up the win clean. And his nose is cut again. Sheamus, why is his nose cut again? Side of his nose just here. Please tell me he hasn't broken his nose again. Tell me that's the old surgery scar. Scar. Connor says, when Shayna was on NXT, I thought she would be a multiple-time women's champ by now. Same. Somebody main roster just doesn't believe in her. Sean says, does anyone think Ridge will turn on Sheamus? We've got a lot of time before that eventually happens, hopefully. Ghost says Sheamus needs to put the damn mask back on. He does, just wrestle in the mask. You can do it. Just wrestle in the mask. Because that's going to be like the 5th time. Just look after yourself. Just look after yourself. Oh, hey, Ed Fries. How you doing, Ed? I hope you're having a very, very good day so far. And I hope you've enjoyed Smackdown so far. I have. Been an alright show. Kevin says, I wish WWE booked Nakamura better. Depends what you mean by better. He's featured every single show. He doesn't win that many matches. That's true, though. KJ says, day one's shaping up to be real good. Roman versus Brock. Usos versus New Day. Charlotte versus Tony. Seth versus Big E versus KO. It's a good selection, that. That's very true. It's a good selection. Connor says, Ridge turns on Sheamus. Cesaro helps Sheamus, brings the bar back together. Then Pete Dunne comes up to be with Ridge. Please do this. Please, WWE. Please, please, please. We'll see. I don't know how Pete Dunne's going to fare on the main roster. I feel if he was still in a tag team with Matt Riddle, he'd do better. But at the moment, he's not really that well defined. Half an hour left. Sami Zayn is on his way down to the ring for his match with Roman. I'd imagine when we come back from commercial break, we'll have a couple of vignettes. Then we'll have Roman's entrance. And by the time we actually get into the actual match, it'll be about 10 minutes of it left. I am glad we're actually getting the match, though. Very glad of that. Ooh, we go. There we go. It's 2:30 in the morning here in the UK. It's starting to hit me. Sean says, can Pete be called up? He's the producer for NXT UK. Is he? Because he's wrestling in NXT. He's involved in War Games. So, Connor says, is this Sammy's first main roster world title match? I can't remember him being in an Elimination Chamber or anything. We won't count the Royal Rumble with Brock in it, because that wasn't for the championship anyway. Okay, technically no. Technically no. He has been in one versus all Royal Rumble. I can't think of any other actual championship matches he's had. Yeah, good question. Ghost says, I just thought about something. Trish Stratus is supposed to be the host for the house show on the 27th in Canada, so that probably is a given that Trish will be in the Royal Rumble match again. Yeah, I feel confident about it. Hall of Pain is suggesting Sheamus versus Nakamura versus Cesaro, banger for the IC Championship. I would enjoy that match. I would. I was really excited to see... Pardon me. I was really excited to see Nakamura versus Swerve. Didn't happen. Is that for my nose, Chelsea? I've just moisturised it. Literally paused the stream to just go and moisturise my nose. How vain am I? It's fair, Connor. I understand what you're saying. Kervin says Volta versus Roman Reigns for Mania 38. Not going to happen. You got to remember, if Volta comes up, he's going to be starting off quite low down. I would imagine he'd be starting off against Damian Priest. That was the first championship he went for. KJ says, crazy how it's 9:30, so this match could be about 25 minutes, but in reality it won't start until 9:45. Yep, that's the way these main events go. Connor says, if that Rumble is the only one, I'm going to class that as his first. That is the only other one Roman was a champ then too. He was indeed. Sean says, Sammy had a US title match against John Cena when he came up to the main roster. I do recall that, yes. We were specifically talking top championship, but I do remember that quite fondly. Good times. Ah, there we go. Thank you, KJ. Sammy and KO once took on AJ in a handicap match for the WWE title. I do remember that. It was fun. Hey, Matt, how you doing, man? It's been a little while. How you doing? I hope you're good. Is it a blocked nose? No, it's just something irritates my sinuses. I don't know what it is, but something irritates my sinuses and I just get really itchy nose. It doesn't happen when I'm not streaming, but we are where we are. I think we can all agree on that one, Connor. The first championship match, one-on-one. We can say that handicap matches don't count. I think that's fair. Back from break, still technically 25 minutes of main event if we're about to start the main event. Are we about to start the main event? I don't think so. We're talking about the game of the day. Surely Brock Lesnar's going to have his entrance now. They literally just joined the crowd. Oh, we're backstage. Vignette time. Megan says Sammy worked a program with Jinder when he was WWE Champion in 2017, but those weren't on TV. The AJ stuff was 2018, early, but this is the first televised one. Thank you, Megan. Naomi has stepped up to Sonya, which is good. I'm glad they're back. Well, Shayna's had her match so far. Can't imagine she'll be involved in this. I really want to see Sonya just get back in the ring. I want to see her wrestle again. I'm getting distracted by Sonya, sorry. She's such a badass. Ooh. Yeah, that's gotta hurt. She did not hold back at all. So apparently next week, I think it is. Is it next week, Naomi versus Sonya? Because I want it. I want it. Okay, Chelsea, appreciate that. I'll look into it for you. Well, I'll look into it for me, to be fair. Donna says, still nice to see something a bit different. I get that. Go says, who do you think will face Roman at the Royal Rumble? Not sure. The suggestion from the chat has been Jeff Hardy, and I like that idea. Sean thinks we're going to see Sonya versus Naomi at day one. I'd have no issue with that. I have no issue with that at all. Connor says, now that was a slap. It was. I felt that myself. Kervin says, do you see Ronda Rousey returning for the Royal Rumble? Honestly, no. I think it's just a bit too soon for her, and I just don't think she's that interested. Noob says, I'm smelling a match between Naomi and Sonya at WrestleMania 38. I'd imagine we're going to get there sooner, but if it takes until WrestleMania for Sonya's official return, I'm not going to be that upset. Not that upset. KG also says that was a good slap. Vince, take notes. Vince on Austin Theory was also quite a good slap, to be fair. Connor says, chance of Vince telling Adam that Sonya has to stop being management now as she has assaulted a superstar? Unlikely. Unlikely. Megan says, I'm ready for the story to end now. Hopefully we get the match, probably a day one to draw out this whole Naomi can't touch her thing, and we move on. I don't trust them to keep this going much longer. I would hope it will take place at day one at latest. Because I think Naomi's a genuine contender for the Royal Rumble with the story that she's got. So, essentially get out of her way and let her do that. We're getting a complete recap of WWE Raw. I know, Megan, don't worry, I understand. So, Sami Zayn's in the ring right now, and we're getting a complete recap of WWE Raw. Chelsea says, really not sure I have the energy to stay for the main event. It'll be starting in 12 minutes. Starting soon. If you ain't got the energy, you ain't got the energy. I respect it. Sometimes we all need a sleep. Naomi's been a champion before, KJ, several times. Ghost says that was a Stephanie McMahon-esque slap. She was an expert at it. I still remember the slap she hit name redacted with way back when. Chelsea says, quite politely, Sami must be shutting himself. They're spending all his time just saying, shut up, shut up, shut up. Megan says, Naomi winning would be nice. I'm still rooting for Shayna as always. I think if Naomi ever wins the title, that sort of opens the door for Shayna at this point, because there is a story there. Not a great one, but a story nonetheless. Chelsea says, if WWE started at 12, I would always watch. Same. Same. The New Day have pedigree for steel cage matches now. Big E versus Kevin Owens and Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch. They are stacking Raw pretty strong. Pretty strong. Sean says, does Kyle O'Reilly wrestle his last match at War Games? Maybe. I don't think he's going to sign a new contract, I'll tell you that. Megan is also quite hyped up for the cage match. We have finally gone back to the ring, where Sami Zayn's just sort of sat in a corner, which is sort of refreshing. Now they're hyping up the match again, instead of just letting us watch the match. We've seen a lot of hype for this match. They could have given all this time to the match, but apparently not. The match is sponsored by a burrito. The match is sponsored by a burrito. They could have at least started Roman's entrance before the commercial break. Now when we come back, Roman's going to have to walk all the way down to the ring from the off. Then Brock Lesnar's going to make his entrance as well. We're going to see no wrestling. Sean says, does the cage match main event Raw or does Becky versus Liv? I'd imagine the cage match will main event, and I think that's a shame. If they're clever, they'll have Becky versus Liv main event the second hour, so they can split the show into 2 hours and then 2 hours, but the second hour of the first part and the first hour of the second part will overlap. It's good booking. Omega, how you doing, man? Just says, Tom Colohue. Had the devil eye, Tanner. Chelsea says, does the winner get a burrito? I hope so. I mean, what was it? The pay-per-view when the winner got pizza? Why not? Ghost says, I don't love when they do the rebounds. I get why they do, but it takes too much time. We should be focusing on the show that's happening now, especially when title match is about to happen. I agree. They've made a clear decision to have these recaps. And I'd imagine it helps their retention rate. So it makes sense to do it. It's annoying when you do watch every week. Connor says, between this ad break and the last one, we literally saw slap. That was the only wrestling we saw. Indeed. Indeed. Jill says, you just know when it gets past 2:45 it's going to be bollocks. We got the whole Roman entrance. It might genuinely take up the rest of the night. And KJ says, next week will be crazy. Hopefully. As long as we get a good match, because the fact that they're having it now suggests that there's something else planned for day one. Or in fact, potentially, we have to consider nothing planned for day one. Not everyone can wrestle at day one. Becky Lynch might not be on the card to make room for other people. Chelsea says Bayley return at the Rumble. Possibly. Possibly. Chelsea, I do have a video on this about Bayley's return schedule. It's popular. Connor says next week is the first Raw watch along co-stream, and what a Raw it is indeed. I'm excited. What can I say? Hopefully I'll be able to survive the whole thing again. I'm gonna have to get some sugar. Ghost of Nate says, for the sake of the date and it being the anniversary of the Trish Lita main event, I think Liv Becky will be a good main event, but that's probably not happening. I would hope they respect the symmetry. If not, I'm sure social media could convince them if they were aware of that and if they decided to try. I don't think they'll decide to try, but they could. But they won't. But they could. They could. Connor, why do you think I'm drinking so much Cherry Coke? It's keeping me awake. I need to stock up on Cherry Coke and then not drink it until Mondays and Fridays. Don't always work. It doesn't always work. Jeff Hardy will take on Happy Corbin next week. And that's okay. Connor said bye on Mondays and Fridays then. I don't have time. I need to script pretty much as soon as I finish work. Confirmed, Naomi versus Sonya Deville next week. Another thing that I reported. Firstly, that she would be returning to action in the storyline against Naomi. And secondly, literally a couple of days before she officially returned to the ring, that she'd be officially returning to the ring. Chelsea says, Tom, how do you have so much energy every Monday and Friday night till so late? It's inspiring. Oh, thank you, Chelsea. Mostly energy drinks and false energy and sugar. I can't pretend otherwise. KJ says, I have a feeling the women's will main event and Big E opens. Would be good bookends. Also says Jeff Hardy in LA. Indeed. Man gonna party. Megan says, I really thought they were going to drag that out given the you can't touch me thing. There's still time. We have to respect that there is still time for them to do that. They could always pull the match for reasons. Possibly, Connor, but that's high to luxury and I don't know how much money you think I have. Sami Zayn is guaranteeing that the match with Roman will be even shorter than expected. Hey, Robs, how you doing, man? Great to see you. Glad you're here. Ghost says Sonya will probably wear the suit to the ring so Naomi can't touch her without consequences and they can drag this out. Fair. And Chelsea says, I love how Sammy chats so much shit when Brock isn't there. Give him time. Okay. Sami Zayn is thanking Brock Lesnar. And here comes Brock. I think Brock will stand by him until after the match, at which point he won't anymore. But I think he'll stand by him until then. I think you can trust Brock Lesnar, to a degree. KJ says, Sami and KO both in title feuds, you love to see it. It's been a long time coming. These two have been very important. Rob says, consider for at least the next 10 minutes, both Owens and Sami are possibilities in the main event of day one for their prospective brand's top title. Contracts looming. They get promised a push, don't they? And the WWE like to say, look, we're definitely doing it, we're definitely doing it, we're definitely doing it. This is going to be like a 5-minute match. Sami makes a very good point that Brock Lesnar's not going to be interested in. Ghost says tonight has been kind of weird for SmackDown. It's okay. Noob says Brock Lesnar as a face may be weird, but I'm enjoying every single moment of him. I love that opening promo. Last 20 minutes or so have been pretty disappointing. Connor says, I bet if you told Sami a couple of years back he would be working with Brock, he would not have believed you. Well, now I understand why the match was only going to be like 5 minutes. There's not going to be a match. Are we going to get a triple threat at day one? There's like another one. I wouldn't be angry. Sami could just play pure opportunistic. I'd take it. Chelsea says only Brock could get 2 monster pops on one night. And not strictly true. I mean, plenty of people can get monster pops. Kevin Owens can get monster pops again and again. Sami Zayn goes flying. Crowd going wild. Well, that's one way to handle it. Sean says heel versus heel for the Universal title. Will this be good? Well, if it happened, I'd imagine it would be. They could easily play Sami as the face. They're just not going to. The crowd said one more time, Brock's the face now. Does as he's told. I like that. Chelsea says Brock defo loves Sami out of kayfabe. I suspect Brock and Roman will have been involved in this choice. I think everyone kind of likes working with Sami. Megan says Sami's getting double smashed tonight. First Brock, then Roman. He should be very proud of himself for that. Any man who gets double smashed should give himself a little pat on the back. Brock's just stood him up in the corner, patted him off. Little thumbs up. Say, oh, did he just say you've got this? Oh no, the match is still happening. Smash everyone and leave. Connor says, poor Sami. KJ says they're going to do this match next week. No, apparently still happening. Apparently still happening. Rob says I wouldn't either, but 2 triple threats doubtful. Fair. KJ says Roman comes to take the pin. Smash everyone and leave. Pardon me. And Rob says, I believe Brock genuinely was having fun tonight. I think so. I really do think so. He's had some really big smiles, hasn't he? The double cheap pop at the beginning for San Antonio, Texas, that's the guy who's enjoying himself. Matt says Brock looks like he's going to be this year's Santa Claus. We say this year's. How do you know Brock Lesnar hasn't been Santa Claus for every year? Wrestling with Santa? Santa with muscles? I can see it. Connor says Sami wins via roll-up. He's going to do the Cena technique. Yeah, which worked out brilliantly. Worked brilliantly for Cena. KJ says Roman squash. I don't think that's really in doubt at this point, to be honest. It's just going to be a solid beating. Ghost says the cream pie segment was not needed. Not really the typical amount of matches. Lack of screen time for characters like Jeff and Drew. Other than Brock, Sami and Roman. Crowd clapping during happy talk, etc. It's very funny moments based tonight. It's an entertainment show rather than a wrestling show. With the exception of Sasha Shayna, that was just damn good. Matt said just based on his facial hair. It's based on the whole hair. Man is Santa. Megan says they've only got 10 minutes left. 9.5 of those will be Roman's entrance. Well, we've got commercial break, then Roman's entrance. Then Roman smash everyone and leave. Then probably Brock will come back out and throw him about a bit. But not really. The Usos will get involved. And just end with a brawl. That's what I'm seeing. Rob says, that being said, they should be careful doing too much of this ruthless aggression era Brock talking. It may hurt his aura. Well, to be fair, he's not going to be here that long. He'll take another break soon. Absence does make the heart grow fonder. Fair shout. AK says, didn't like that. Wanted to see Sami versus Reigns for 15 minutes. Me too, actually. I genuinely wanted to see them wrestle because we've never seen it. We've never seen it, and I would have enjoyed it. I think the crowd would have got behind Sami. Kind of says, can it be called a squash when he's been beaten down before the match? I don't think so. I don't think so. Well, we'll let him play along. Chelsea says, by the time Roman walks to the ring, Sami will be fully recovered. Fair. Like, I can't be annoyed at that phrase and that statement because you're absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. Roman Reigns and his nice long entrances has been working in WWE's favour for a long time now. Roman's music has just hit, and I mean just hit, as we come back. They've confirmed that the match is going ahead. How? You've got no time. Is Brock just going to attack him as he walks down to the ring? That's all we've got time for. Usos are backing him up. Usos are genuinely backing him up. They're keeping an eye out from behind. They are watching for Brock. Rob says, I was all in on Sami Reigns for a fun matchup. Same. I would have liked it. Omega says, I missed almost all of SmackDown. How did Tony do? Okay. She did okay. It's just not very fun. It's just not very fun. Rob says, still time for McIntyre to help Sami win. Sending SmackDown into a tizzy. I wouldn't hate it. I genuinely wouldn't hate it. But by the time Roman actually gets down to the ring, there actually won't be time. As she did not get hit with a pie again, she actually returned the favour. She cream pied Charlotte. KJ says, speed, walk, one spear and it's over. Yeah, I'd imagine so. This is the fastest I've seen Roman walk to the ring. We haven't really seen the state that Sami's in just yet. The Usos are just really good background actors. I just want to point that out. Because the fact that they're keeping an eye out behind them, I like it. KJ says, matter of fact, a hell of a kick to start. Well, haluva kick, I believe they phrase it as. To start the match, close 3 count, then spear. Wouldn't hate it. Wouldn't hate it. Indeed, in Omega, indeed. And cream pie as far as the eye could see. Go says Roman's doing his rendition of running to the ring. Look at him go. I was impressed by his speed. We've got a recap of something that just happened. Are they trying to kill time? We've just had a recap of Brock destroying Sami. We've seen it. We were there. We were watching. Sami Zayn's just slumped in the corner. He's just slumped. KJ says the night he came to Raw he walked fast. He did. He can do it. He just rarely does. King of Pro, welcome. Says, what did I miss? I was streaming Universe mode. The show's been alright. Sasha versus Shayna was good. Brock Lesnar's been great tonight. Brock Lesnar's been fantastic. Other than that, it's fairly standard. Nothing particularly stands out as being good or bad, which is a pretty good place to be. The entire night seems a little bit rushed. And then you get to Roman's entrance and it's like, nah, it's not rushed. Just says WWE just trying to insult our intelligence again. I still remember the day when Vince McMahon said, frankly, we believe you're just tired of having your intelligence insulted. And then proceeded to continue doing so. The Usos are just picking up Sami. They're just picking him up. I think they're holding him for a spear. Oh, they've piled him in the corner. Ghost says Sami looks dead. Yeah, it's a good sell. The bell is rung. Roman wants to finish it off. He does so. Hits the spear. Straight into the guillotine. Sami taps. On the arse as well. When did Vince say that? That's actually quite a famous quote. It was when he officially came on TV and announced the Attitude Era. KJ says Brock, New Day versus Bloodline at SmackDown next week in LA. Have to go big, so let's see. It's not impossible. Not impossible. Rob says tap, and tap indeed. 7 seconds. Connor just says nice match. Somehow shorter than Brock versus Kofi. Yeah. Well, is Sami's contract about to complete? Because that's a way out. Boss Pedal, you alright? Says, hope you're enjoying. I just finished watching a live show of a hardcore match where a giant inflatable flamingo got killed by wooden skewers to the head. Aww. That's rude. Rob says, poor Sami, victim of another conspiracy. Just a battering. Just definitive. Jill says, Sami acting sus. Sami's dead, mate. Sami's dead. KJ says, Roman smashes people and Sami gives butt taps. Well, if you're going to tap. Omega says, Meltzer be like, 5 stars. 5 whole stars. AK says, poor ending. Anticlimactic, definitely. Like the ending of The Witcher, which I've just finished watching. Megan says, Sami's contract is reported to be up around March. Thank you, Megan. Appreciate that. So I'll point out, even as a journalist, I don't know everything. So it's great having you guys here backing me up and sharing information. It is 3 a.m. Literally 3 in the morning. And it is time for Tom Colohue to go to bed. This has been our first watch along of a new run of dual streams. This is the plan going forwards. We will be streaming both on YouTube and on Twitch for the foreseeable for both spoiler warning and these watch parties. Hopefully we continue to grow on YouTube because of this. I'm trying to find naturally new subscribers and eventually get monetized on YouTube. This seems to be the right way to do it. So, in addition to that, I will say we have fantastic viewership on Twitch today. Absolutely fantastic. Huge thank you to everyone who jumped in, everyone who joined in, everyone who chatted, everyone who liked on the YouTube video. And just in general, a huge thank you. Don't forget, myself and Ed will be hosting a watch party for NXT War Games. If that's of interest to you, you know where to check us out. Right here, either on YouTube or on Twitch, on the Tom Colohue channels. Thank you, Matt. That's a very nice thing to say. I appreciate it. So, thank you. I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic. And I will see you next time.